Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another gold breakdown with FX.GOLDSMITH. Today's date, 2023, 10/15. Let's take a quick peek at what happened last week, how we closed, where we moved from, and see if we can do a little analytics on where we think price is going to go for the remainder of this week here. So yeah, we are on the weekly time frame. As you can see, we created this low here and rejected the 1830s pretty good. Bounced all the way up into the 1930s and closed there with no top wick at the end of Friday last week. So essentially what we've done is we've closed above these resistance zones around the 1825, 1830s, and these other support zones looking left around the 1920s, sorry. So we can expect essentially a pullback and a continuation based on price action here. It's simply a matter of where we're going to reject and start to create that new higher low in order to then turn bullish and make a new higher high. So just simply based off the weekly time frame, this is where you have a previous support turned resistance that we closed above. So now we are back looking at the 1920s as a support. So let's bring that up just a touch. So 1918 to 1920s is an area that I believe this can start to bounce off of. Essentially, we're going to have to look on the lower time frames, but again, simply based on a weekly time frame, that is one area that I can see price rejecting. Otherwise, where can we come down to? Maybe even the 1905s based off this price action looking left. So we have some good rejection here and good structure on the 1905s. So 1905s, 1920s, just based off the weekly time frame, is an area that support could be created. The highs of that, we're going to have to look at the weekly high here, 1940s, and then top of zone would be your 1960s. So maybe at the end of the week or end of the month, we can kind of see what's going to happen here. Hopefully we can rally pretty good and catch some bullish positions. So that is simply a analysis on the weekly time frame, looking for a pullback and simply continuation in the bullish direction. So let's drop down to the daily time frame. Let's erase some of these support and resistance lines and see what we're working with here. So let's draw our zones based on the daily time frame. Boom, just like so. How did I get that? I looked left to see where price is going to react the strongest reaction, looking something like this, right? 350 pips to 400 pips from the downside from this level. So kind of looking for a top and a bottom on the daily zone as a whole. Now, as you can see, we closed, 75% up around the 1930s from this zone from 1900s to 1940s, right? So I'm looking for this pullback and a continuation. Now, where is the pullback going to finish, right? Where is the low of this pullback? We don't know that. Looking on the charts, this is what we can assume. We have this support that was created on the daily time frame here, Friday, September 22nd. So let's draw a intra-session zone there. Looking left even further here, this was a resistance support combination here around 1915. And then, of course, in and around your 1910s, 1905. So these three positions, 1, 2, 1910, let's call it 1910, 3, and 4 for 1905, are areas that I can predict this daily and this weekly bottom wick to bottom out at, to start to turn bullish. So looking on your 4-hour, let's see if any of these line up, and they do. All right, you can drag this over. You can see that we created some support here, got a nice 50 pip push right here in the 1915s is a very strong resistance turned support because we closed above it. So these are essentially areas that I'm looking for price to tap into in order to grab liquidity and continue in the bullish direction. Let's bring that down there. Boom. right? Lines up pretty good. Just like so. So you want to pick your support and your resistances in an area that A, have the biggest bounce, and B, that make the most sense. The least amount of fake outs, the least amount of confusion, right? Everything wants to align on all time frames. And you saw that as we progress down from the daily into the 4 hour time frame. So this is your first area that I can predict some bounce. That being said, we are closing on this rollover time, the 4 hour in 3 minutes. Another rollover time was an hour ago. And what happened? We closed bearish. So we can expect this 4 hour to at least start to break this low, continue down, start to reject maybe the 1915s, excuse me, and then continue up. But ultimately, we need a new low, higher low to be formed. And a higher low, of course, is going to be a bearish and a bullish candle. So we want to wait in order to take positions until we have a 4 hour bullish candle closure in our direction. Otherwise, this is simply the pullback phase. And the reason I don't love trading a pullback phase is price can reject at any point in time on any time frame structure, right? So you're thinking, okay, we have some clean traffic on the 4 hour to 1914, and then all of a sudden, you drop down the 15-minute time frame and price rejects right here at 1920, 10 pips away from where it's at now, and starts to flip and drive on you, right? So I want to be trading in the direction of trend, which is currently a bullish direction. So let's wait for a 4 hour higher low to be formed. We have a 4 hour higher high. Let's wait for a 4 hour candle closure in our direction, and then we can start to scale in more positions. So ultimately 1920, 1915, 1910, and 1905 are areas that I think we can bottom out at and continue in the direction. Let's check out the 1 hour time frame. I know we do have just with this crazy push from last Friday New York session. I know we do have a lot of impulsive moves here. And typically I would be saying, hey, like we got to come down for 500 pips and correct this. But just given everything that's occurring in the economy and the war tensions and fear, I think that the pullbacks are going to be a lot smaller and there's lots of momentum in the market for bullish moves. So expect short, quick pullbacks, and then you can enter position on bullish candles that you see. So as you can see here, we're starting to break the low, closing 30-minute or closing 1 minute on this 30-minute candle. You can potentially expect a continuation, down to 1915. So let's sit on our hands. Let's wait for a 4 hour candle closure. Let's see where we're going to reject. We're going to actually reject here or here. But that's what I see, guys. We need something. Let's draw a candle for you guys. Draw rectangle, red. Oh, let's erase that. Draw red rectangle. Draw. Draw rectangle blue. Okay, so here I've drawn another 4 hour candle, bearish. We've kind of come into that 1905 area and rejected. So now this is what I can expect to potentially happen. This guy. Was it like this? So something like that, you guys, right? Bullish continuation, or sorry, bearish continuation here, little steeper pullback, then we're breaking some highs here, creating that new low in the 1915 areas after we retested 1905s all the way to top of zone, right? So that is something that I'm predicting to happen just like we got here, right? So let's erase these candles for you guys so it's not confusing. Okay, just like we got here, right? We get a high, we're pulling back to structure, retesting previous structure on the 4-hour, creating a new low, higher low, and a continuation. Bearish candle. Let's wait for one more bearish candle, maybe a weaker one to print in our direction, and a continuation. So as soon as we get that, you guys scale in your positions on the lower time frames, the 1-hour structures, and boom, targets 1940, and then all the way top of zone 1945, into the 1960s on the weekly time frame. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Wait until you get a 4-hour candle closure in your direction. Wait for a new low. Let's see if that can happen, and if we did a decent job at analyzing price here today. So it's always good to prepare yourself for the week ahead. Monday's a new start to the week. It is also good to have kind of a bearish idea. That being said, it's going to be at least a day away, and you need some closures for me, kind of below your 1900s again. To once we close below your 1900s, you can predict it coming down into the 84s, 85s to retest the structure. But for now, anywhere from this area to that area, 300 pips, I'm still very bullish, and you can create your higher low anywhere in there, and then retest the 1950s. So that's the analysis for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Sunday, and we will see you guys for New York session tomorrow.